Good afternoon. It is Friday, the 13th of April. And for a lot of people, that's a superstitious day. To me, it's just the day after the 12th and the day before the 14th. This is Friday, so that means this is time for Ask Welfare Rights. My name is Maureen Taylor, and I'm the state chairperson of Michigan Welfare Rights, and I'd like to welcome you to our weekly Friday broadcast. And I'm here with my colleague, Marion Kramer, the national chair of the National Welfare Rights Union, who's going to give you an official welcome. So, Marion, say hello.
Hello, and we know we were not here last week, but we missed you because we were trying to help out with the Poor People's Campaign as well as to have a national board meeting in Baltimore, Maryland. We'll give you some things that talk about what came out of it. But I really enjoyed myself, and I just love my people in welfare rights because when you're down and you can't hardly move, they're gonna make you move. And it was so good to see so many people and ready to fight in the interest of poor people. I want to remind you that you are listening to www.tv33whpr.com. If you should call in, please turn your radio or your TV down where we can be able to hear you and what you have to say. We're in Detroit, Highland Park, and sometime you can get this station way up in the UP. I know members have mentioned that. So, we want you to participate, and we want you to not just listen, Maureen, they got to stop just participating over the air. They got to come in to help us to organize. There is so much stuff going around.
Yeah.
And we need every able body it is, even bodies that are just in wheelchairs, needs to get out there. Also, those of us on the sticks got to come on out. So again, we're happy to be among you, and let's get started. Oh, we need to let you know the numbers haven't
There
changed.
you go.
They're right there at the bottom, but I will say them just in case you don't have it up on your TV. 313-868-4336 and 313-868-0351. Again, 313-868-4336 and 313-868-0351. Thank you.
All right. Couple of things we want to start off with. First of all, Marion and I and others, we were in Baltimore, and we left town last week, but we didn't leave town until we were able to reach out, and we finally found Miss Eastside.
Oh, my God,
And at
yes.
that time, Miss Eastside was still in the hospital. We found her family members, and they told us where she was. We left the next day. So I want to just tell this story, Marion, and because we don't know, we're just getting back,
Yeah.
and we want to go a little further in terms of trying to see about her a little bit more. But I've got one aunt left, and the last one before this one, she went to have cataract surgery. And after the cataract surgery and the medicines and whatnot that they gave her, all of a sudden, and maybe it wasn't all of a sudden, but she started to exhibit signs of dementia. And I connected it right away to some of the medicines that she had been given during this cataract surgery. And I don't know that that's the fact, or is that a connection that I made was accurate. But before the surgery, Willamette was sharp and very bright, and she'd been an Army ATAC worker for 40 years. She's one of the few people that worked at one job 40 plus years. And I could still remember when she was doing so many, after the cataract surgery, she had the dark glasses on, you know how it looks. And we were taking her, and her son was driving her where she wanted to go. Then those glasses came off after the appropriate amount of time for recovery, and she was having a little trouble driving. And I didn't think anything of it because she just had cataract surgery, and maybe it take her a little bit longer for her eyes to heal. And she backing the car out of the garage, and she running to the fence. What's going on here? So it didn't strike me right away, but more and more little things started happening. She would call me and say, I'm at the gas station, and I'm not sure, I can't see, I'm not sure how to get home.
That was strange.
And it was very strange. So, I jump in the car and go up there and get her. And I'm still thinking this is connected to the medicines that she was taking during and after the surgery. Then there came a time where I said, there's something wrong here. And I said, come on, let's go to the hospital. And we went to the doctor's office. And I'll never forget this. The doctor explained the symptoms, and the doctor put a piece of paper and a ink pen on the desk and told my aunt, he drew a circle and handed her the ink pen and told her to make that circle into a clock and make it say 3 o'clock. So all she had to do would have been, here's the circle. She needed the big hand going to the 12 and the little hand going over here. She couldn't do it. And she put a V in the circle. She put a W in the circle, and X. She wrote 3, and I asked her, what are you doing? She says, well, I'm trying to make it say 3 o'clock like he asked me. I said, make the hands show 3 o'clock. Where would the big hand be? She drew a line through the circle. And that's when I knew there's something else that's going on here. So I tell that story because Miss Eastside went into the hospital to have something minor done. And when she got there, I don't know what the medicines were that were prescribed, but whatever the medicines were, she started to develop some hallucinatory responses. And I heard some things from her family members that just told me, oh my goodness, she's sick, because Miss Eastside was not the person that her daughters were explaining. So we were quite concerned. We got a chance to talk to her for a significant period of time. But now that we're back from our out-of-town activity, we're going to look this up a little further and see if we can get to visit her wherever she is. But when we talked to her, she sounded fine, but she was saying things even to me on the phone, Marion, that I knew, okay, this would give anybody else a concern because of the way she was talking to me on the phone. So I knew something was not well, and I just felt so bad. So I just want to tell people that you already know the story. We need to keep Miss Eastside in our prayers because there's something going on there, and we may not be able to capture her or help her because she might have gone to a place where we can't get her back, Marion,
The other thing
Call her
is,
just a moment. I'll come to
Miss Eastside has been a terrific person in her community. She loved her community. So, not only are we asking for prayers, but we want you to also, if you can go and check on her, you can call her, call Welfare Rights, and we might know something. But she's hanging on in there right now.
Now let me do it.
All right, caller, you are on the air. You are the first caller of the night. Thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights. You're on the
Good
air.
afternoon, Marion and Marion.
Hello.
Maureen, Marion, how are you doing?
All right.
Yes, this call is for first Miss Eastside.
Yes.
Miss Eastside was fine.
I can't hear you.
I'm getting the feedback on my end. Can you all hear me very good?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, they need to cut the volume down on my end. I'm getting feedback.
The engineer is hearing it, and let's see if they can make any adjustments. So go ahead.
Okay, I was saying that Mrs. Person, Miss Side, is doing fine.
Okay.
And I know that you were saying that you all was worried about her.
Yes.
She is doing marvelous. It's
Cut
She's
your
doing okay.
TV. Excuse me. Can you cut your TV down?
My TV is down. It's not even on.
Oh, wow.
All right, so go ahead. Now, what are you saying about Miss Eastside? She's doing okay?
She's doing just fine. And for the family, whoever called and told you all, they're going to be very upset if they see this later on tonight. And so I'm just going to ease all the issues. I'm going to call the family and just let them know whatever you heard, I talked to you all, and there's no reason for them to get upset. So whatever, if anything happens, I will call you, Maureen. You know I know where you work at. Marion, you know I will call down to Michigan Welfare Rights.
Well, I talked to her oldest daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I spoke with the daughter.
You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, because see, what we did is we looked back and we found old files for Miss Eastside when we were working with some other cases, and we're talking about 8 or 9 years ago. And we had a lot of numbers, and that's how we found the oldest daughter.
And I'll say it again. You didn't talk to the oldest daughter. I talk to them every day.
Well,
And you
let's
have
do
not
this.
talked to them.
The
So
interest.
there's somebody else that's playing them. But I'm just saying, I will contact you all if anything happens, okay?
Okay.
And Miss
Yeah, we just want her to be
I'll call
all
you
right.
Monday and let you know what my name is. And Marion, and Mrs. Taylor can tell you. Because I
Okay.
don't want to say my name. And they call me the job seeker. So you'll know who I am. But I'm the one I always call you about the job.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, dear.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right.
Right.
Caller, you're on the air. Thank you for waiting, and thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights.
Yes, I'll get you, miss.
Yes, you're on the air.
Okay. First of all, I just want to, I've been with you too late. I want to keep Miss Eastside in prayer, whatever's going on, because I've never met her, but I've always heard she goes on the TV and she has a city that I was born and raised in. So it's all about prayer for her and everybody. But I love her. I never met her. She's just like a mother to me because the things she said, I comprehend with. So anyway, I 3 topics I want to say real quick and I'm hanging up. Now, did y'all hear the man in Troy that hit the young American this morning, or was it because he knocked on the door trying to find call it up?
Young man who was 14.
Oh God.
Yeah, we know the story. The young man, 14, missed the bus and was trying to
Right.
find his way to his school.
The
Walking.
other one is these 3 young boys, Caucasians, that threw that sandbag or rocks over the bridge and killed the black fella here a few months ago in Ohio.
Yes.
They just gave him 3 months probation or something like that. And I understand it's the same kind of cases going on. The 5 young in Flint with the Pontiac. I heard on the news this morning. Now, where's all these Farrakhan's and all these people that always, well, where are they hollering about justice? The family was TV last at the Ohio case. They feel that they didn't get justice, and they did. I'm going to hang up and listen. Maybe somebody will get some information also.
Okay, caller, thank you, and we'll respond. Okay, we will. Caller, you've been waiting. You've been so patient. Thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights.
Happy Friday, Queen.
And thank you very much.
I just want to thank you for checking on Eastside. I'm sure you got a thorough observation and information needed to clear and assure everybody that she's okay. And I just want to thank you for that. I heard her call on the stations a couple of times, and my thoughts were it could be the medication as well, because we know we all going through a lot of stress, and between the stress, the mess, and the way they medicate us, it's possible that we could have more problems because of it. And I just want to thank you for reaching out and being there for someone that really needs you and appreciates you. I know I love you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I remember just one of the times where we had some kind of a function at welfare rights, and we had it at the International Institute. And Miss Eastside cooks chicken better
Oh,
than
my God,
anybody you
yes.
know, but she don't want to eat it, right? She not a chicken eater. But man, she showed up. Remember, she had on that black leather skirt, Mary,
And you remember she danced?
and she danced. She had on a black leather skirt and a little bitty heels, and she was so sharp that night. And
Mm-hmm.
boy, she Mr. Love was there, and Mr. Love and Mr. Spence looked at her and started salivating. She was so good looking that night, and
That woman
just
dresses good.
supportive so many
Mhm.
years, so many things, so we just feel bad that she's falling on some illness right now. We certainly don't want that to happen, but we
No.
wanted to at least let people know we did reach out, we found her, and we'll wait and see what steps we have to do next. Now the other thing is that Marion and I and others, Sylvia and a whole bunch of other people, Marion called a meeting. It was a national board meeting of the National Welfare Rights Union. And the purpose of the meeting was to get people to Baltimore, Maryland, first and foremost to see how we might get closer to the Poor People's Campaign that is really near and dear to our hearts, but also to look and see how we might re-energize a National Welfare Rights Union because of the unending attacks against low-income people
Oh,
that
my
are being
God.
levied from city to city. So the meeting was absolutely positive, very, very successful. There were members of welfare rights there as far away from Baltimore as Oakland, California. They were there from Boston.
LA.
They were there from L.A. They were there from New York. They were there from New Orleans. We were all over the place. And it was very, very positive, and there is absolute energy toward rebuilding a National Welfare Rights Union across this country that will be able to speak to some of the attacks that are going on against low-income people. So that was a good call. Marion made a good call, and we heard it. And, Marion used to talk ugly to people and tell you, whatever it is you're doing, drop it and come to, and wherever it was. But this time she didn't say that first part. She just said, I need you to come to Baltimore. And we heard the call, and we came. So, Marion, that was pretty good.
Let me tell you
know.
about Maureen. Reverend Barber is still ill on the one hand, but on the other hand, he's still trying to get out here and do a lot of this poverty work. And so he was in another city, and he was getting behind, and they called and said, could we get another speaker to represent him? We said, yeah, I said, I got several speakers here. How about Maureen? And everybody said yes. And because we already had Miss Reverend Annie Chambers, who's a member of our organization, that was going to speak from Baltimore. Annie got out there and opened that rally like it had. Oh, she was just tremendous. Annie have been a member of Welfare Rights like Green for years.
Founding.
One of the founding, and she's been there for years. She's a little short thing, Maureen, but can get around. Annie don't let nothing stop her from getting around to poor people and being with them, as well as working among the homeless. Annie opened up that rally that night. And then all of a sudden, this other little short lady came out named Maureen Taylor, and we had already was on high a level with Annie being up there, and the young lady that was doing all those songs. I was feeling good. Michelle and I was thinking we was back in a rally in the civil rights movement or something like that. And so Maureen stepped up. You know, the comparison between the two is that both of them were short, and we could hear everything they were saying, and we were feeling so happy. You felt like you were at a revival at church or something like that, but you were at a revival to revive you to get back out here and fight against this injustice that we're facing daily. They were tremendous. I mean, just tremendous. And people, I think they stood up twice for each one of them. And I want to say, Maureen, we really appreciate
I was glad and
you
humbled to
taking
be
us
there.
on a trip.
Yeah,
On,
wanted to go there.
on the trip of with the Star Wars and
Star
all
Trek.
the Star Treks and all the rest of them. It was very good, and the way you interconnected theory and history with this is something that we want our class to understand.
Yeah,
You got to know who the enemy is.
you have to
Maureen.
know. You know.
You have to know who
you
the
know.
enemy is.
So I want to say even about that, what we were able to do, and that was the what do they call it? Unintended consequences. And you know, you have to beg Marion, you have to beg Sylvia, you have to beg Michelle, you had to beg all of them. You know, they live in the past. You know, you had to beg them to come to the 21st century. So I had this was the third time I had heard of this thing called Airbnb, and it is an opportunity to rent somebody else's house. And you know, I already knew that welfare rights. We didn't have a whole lot of money, and you know, we have to pinch every penny if we go into Baltimore or wherever we going. When we get there, we have to make plans of how much money to need for eating, how much money we need to give away to people on the corners when we pass by. So you got to have that kind of a budget. When we get there, how we going to manage ground transportation and all of that. So I already had bugged them to death and said, okay, we're going to rent this house right here. And I'd look through it and look through it and look through a whole bunch of other places. And we ended up spending about $400 for 4 nights.
How many bedrooms?
3 bedrooms, one on the first floor, and 2
bath,
bedrooms
bath and
upstairs,
half.
bath and a half, and
a kitchen.
the full kitchen. Man, look, we went out and bought food. What did y'all do with all that food that was left? Because we bought a bunch of stuff.
We took it over to the meeting the next day.
All right. Well, I mean, you know, and it's just so much cheaper to be able to rent somebody else's house, and you have to look at it and do the security and all like that. But yeah, it's the third time we did that. But it's just so much. If it's a group traveling like it was with us, you know, it worked out so well. So that turned out to be a wonderful experience. The part that wasn't so wonderful is when I went to the airport Saturday night, so that I would be able to get out first thing Sunday morning. Had a 6 a.m. flight and had a lot of stuff. Was trying to go to the General Baker Institute that afternoon to make a presentation. And I get to the airport and at 10 after 5, and the personnel at the airport said I was already too late. And I had to wait at that doggone airport for 7 hours till the next flight was available. Ooh, I was a wreck.
Smack dab in
Oh, Lord have mercy. And as I was about to go, Marion and them showed up because I'd been there all day. But the good part of that story is that the hotel I was trying to stay in Saturday night, the young man who checked me in did not tell me that the shuttle bus was going to come at a particular time, and I needed to get it earlier. So I was able to write to that company, Marion, and yesterday they wrote me back and they refunded my money
That's right.
for that hotel activity
Well,
because
Sylvia-
of what happened, you know. And that was
Sylvia
bad.
and I had discussed it
You
and
know.
said if you wasn't going to do it, we sure were going to do it.
Well, I was glad that came back. So that was a righteous activity. So now the next thing is, Marion, let's say something about the Poor People's Campaign.
Okay. Go on.
Poor People's Campaign is based on the notion that Dr. Martin Luther King advanced near the end of his life. And what he had talked about is, you know, he'd been involved with a lunchroom counter activities, and he'd been involved with all of these questions of race and being treated differently based on the color of your skin. And more, as he became more national and more international, this question of poverty and this question of equity and wage gaps and whatnot began to invade his thinking and his heart. And I guess it was a couple of those trips that Dr. King made in the South and saw sharecroppers in the 50s and 60s picking cotton. This kind of stuff still going on. So as he advanced this thinking and started talking about we need a poor people's campaign so we could do something about these sanitation workers in Memphis that's making minimum wage, and all of this kind of conversation was coming forward. And of course, as soon as he started talking about that, opposition to the Vietnam War, bringing whites, blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans together to fight against poverty, they didn't have any more use for him. So, a man that spoke about peace, Mary, and they shot him in the throat. They can't hear you.
Even the president of the United States at that time was
LBJ.
attacking him. Yeah. As well as some of the people in his circle, let's be for real,
Let's talk about that clergy.
were attacking him because they were afraid, a few coins that they were making at the time, that this could be taken away from them. Dr. King had a big meeting with welfare rights, the National Welfare Rights.
Came to welfare rights, yes,
and,
he did.
and Johnny Tillman, Beulah Sanders, Frankie Jeter, and all of them, they met with him and enjoyed and explained to him and educated him on poverty and what people were facing. This man was not just going to talk about it. He went to the depths of it, Maureen, to make people know that the United States, like Annie Smart has said, can the United States survive without poverty, Maureen?
I remember the question.
Can it survive without poverty? Yes, it could survive without poverty, but they're not going to do it because they make a whole lot of money off of poverty. So, these women were smart. They were very articulate about what they represent, and they educated Dr. King at that particular time. So when he came together with all these various organizations that he was trying to pull into the Poor People's Campaign, one of the first organizations he called was the National Welfare Rights Organization. And they were right there with him. Well, myself, you know where I was? I had came to Detroit after the Civil Rights Movement, and I was working with no other than poor people. And we got pulled into that also, but I did not go to none of that. Welfare rights was just beginning to blossom, in a sense. It had blossomed in Michigan,
But
too.
it was really beginning to.
And we had a strong welfare rights organization here.
And there are pictures of Dr. King sitting at the table with these folks.
Frankie
You know?
Jeter, with Beulah.
And learning.
And learning from
Conversations.
them.
What do we need to do? Tell us more about this. Tell me more about this. Marion, I got this from Al, and I almost forgot. Let me just take a moment. In the United States, the 400 richest individuals, now it's 330 million people that live in this country. 400 of the richest individuals now own more wealth than the bottom 64% of the total population.
That's criminal.
The three richest people in this nation, the three richest, own more wealth than the bottom 50%. Three families.
That is criminal, Maureen.
Oh.
That is outright criminal.
All combined, households in the bottom 1% have a combined negative net worth of $196 billion. What that means is, here's the line where you break even. If you go to the left, you're doing bad. If you go to the right, you're doing good. These folks are going to the left, $196 billion that way. These are just some of the striking findings. People might want to look this up. Let me see. Here it's called the Billionaire Bonanza. The Billionaire Bonanza of 2017, and this is a new report published Wednesday of this week by the Institute for Policy Studies. That's the Institute for Policy Studies
In
that
Washington,
explores
D.C.
that explores in detail the speed with which the United States is becoming. Now listen at this, Mary. the speed at which the United States is becoming an hereditary aristocracy of wealth and power. Now, here's this last paragraph, some more stuff. You all read it on your own. Collins and Hoxie, who are the people who wrote this, Chuck Collins and Josh Hoxie, are quick to note that the vast gulf between the 1% and everybody else is not the product of some unexplainable natural phenomenon that just happened. It is rather the result of unfair, carefully planned economic policies that benefit those at the top to the expense of those at the bottom. Planned economy to make certain that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
How mad are you that you don't have access to quality health care? Why should this happen here in this country? How mad are you that a lot of your children and grandchildren and children are facing the possibility once they leave high school, there's no money for them to go to college? How mad are you?
How about the water?
How about, yeah, that was my next. How mad are you that you see the water rates constantly going up and your chance of living is constantly going down because you need water to live? How mad are you that you look in your household, and not in your household so much, but at your home that you have paid for, that's beginning to crack in certain areas, and you don't have monies from the Fed to help you fix these houses up. And people that's supposed to be over this have taken that money and done something with it. How mad are you? How mad are you that you got emergency managers in your community making 6 figures, Maureen?
More than a man.
6 figures. I mean, they living at our expense, but yet y'all will sit around and say, oh, it's going to be a good day one day. You're going to be dead and gone when that good day comes.
Caller, you on the air. Thank you for waiting and thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights.
We're waiting on that good Sunday morning. Another thing that's going on was you YouTube United States versus United States of America, you'll find out they've been changed the Constitution in their favor and not the people's favor. So until we understand the game is being played, and this has been played where they have made laws and amendments to drain the swamp, which is us people. There's a program called Detroit Opportunity Zone. Detroit Opportunity Zones. And that's money, funds coming through the state that's already being directed from the distressed communities and into midtown and downtown.
That's right.
So the games are still being played on us. They don't want to work with us with an affordable water plan, but they want to give Nestle all the water they want. Pennies on the dollar, practically for nothing. Might as well say for free. Universal health care going on in other countries and other states.
Yep.
But here, they still draining the swamp. And the list goes on the austerity that's going on. But I guess we're waiting on that great Sunday morning. We still waiting on our poverty pimps that say they in love with Jesus, but they look like they serving Caesar. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you.
Real quick,
go ahead,
Maureen, we must continue to explain to people this movement, what you say, is going this way.
Yeah, we're going this way.
Where are you going? Are you going to come and join this movement, the poor people's movement? Because if you bring the bottom up, everybody goes up. You can't be sitting there on those couches or in those chairs and say, oh, everything going to get better. Well, again, you hold your breath and wait. How mad are you?
We're marching.
How mad are you? Don't sit and listen to that news all the time and think that they telling the truth all the time. And a lot of times when they open up their mouth, they don't be representing the interests of poor people. It's always our fault that something has happened bad.
All right, with that, let's just talk for a moment about Flint. Then I
Yes.
want to go back to emergency managers. Now, the news has gotten out in the last couple of days, and certainly we heard about it when we were in Baltimore, that the Flint government has decided to not continue to bring free water to the residents of Flint.
Not the Flint government, your governor.
Well, that's the Flint government, all right, and I'm going for the head of the state.
Yeah, that's right.
And he's made a decision, whoever else was involved, that they're not going to provide free water for the Flint residents anymore, and that's because what they say is over the last 2 years, every time they test the water, it tests really good and at high standards with low lead. And the residents say, well, wait just a minute. We don't trust that, and we haven't gotten a chance to see what those test results look like. But, you know, that's going to be a battle right there. But, Marion, at the same time, on my way here, I was thinking about going back home. And that's because the last thing I saw, and I mean, oh my goodness, John Engler.
Did you see that?
John Engler, the former governor, we got to
Oh,
write
my
those students
God.
up there. Tim Skubic, we got to get a hold of him.
Yeah, Tim
But
used to be on the
John Engler, that rat bastard, excuse my language,
Oh, it makes you mad.
told one of the criminal sexual conduct
Victims.
survivors,
Mhm.
that dog NASA that was touching him all the time, and told one of these girls, why don't you give me a number, a figure that would make you stop complaining and saying bad things about the college? Why don't you
drop the charge?
you know, let me know what number will work for you, and we will let those charges go, and it's going to be all right, because the other girl, she had a number, and so cause she had a number, you ought to be able to give me one too. And girlfriend said she wasn't falling for that mess, and when she ended up calling the other girl that this lying sack of crap was talking about, the girl said, I ain't never spoke to them. The students at MSU.
Oh, they
I don't
were-
know if y'all get this message or not, but listen, you cannot let John Engler be your interim college president.
need
I
to
don't care if you
fire
get
everybody
some of that
on the
A1
board.
sauce.
Hey,
You know, when you have barbecue,
That's right.
and you need to put that A1 sauce all over that rascal and let him know if he stays there another second, he gonna be the next barbecue. You cannot let that rat bastard stay up there
That's
at
right.
Michigan State University.
Did you see?
Oh my God, he compromising these girls.
He's trying to act like these young people was lying, and we know every time John Engler used to open his mouth when he was a governor of the governor of Michigan, he was lying.
Closed all those health care
Care
facilities
facilities
and
and
mental
everything.
health facilities, and told the teachers they didn't have the right to strike.
Oh my
Oh my God! You know, Carla, you on the air. Help us from having this meltdown that we going through right now. Carla, you on the air.
Maureen, that was my next statement I was going to make about England. I've listened to on the news asking the young lady, if I write you a check for $200,000 or $250,000, would that quiet you down at all? Oh, he looked like a racist himself, you know.
He's
But
just
I
a
heard
rat.
him say, I don't believe. He sat up there and said, you know, and then and another thing, here, you know what y'all call down the city Cottonville on Woodward, what's that, Criminal Street or Criminal Lane?
Yeah.
There, Abe Leland on the council and investigation for some bribes. So I want y'all to speak on that. And also, Ben Carson's name is on the outside Dr. Anthony Crockett's building. I passed it this past weekend. It's still up there. They need to hurry up and take that name down. I want y'all to speak on them subjects if you can. Thank
We'll
you.
try to
I'm
get
hanging
it in. All right. Thank you so much. Carla, you on the air. Thank you for waiting, and thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights.
I wanted to raise the fact that Paul Ryan wants to raise the age of retirement to 70, and he's retiring at the age of 48 after trying to attack Medicaid, Social Security, and causing the deficit to go up to about $1 trillion. Thank you for taking my call.
All right. Well, that's what Marion was talking about. How mad are you? How mad is anybody? If he wants to raise retirement age to age 70, And I think about persons who are retired live on at least 50% or less of whatever their income was when they were working. How you expect? We're supposed to be reverent. We're supposed to be respectful. We're supposed to be loving toward our retirees. But you got retirees out here living on less than minimum wage, and that doesn't look like a response or an opportunity to be respectful for persons who are retired. Caller, you are on the air, and Marion and I are having a meltdown, and we trying not to say no more bad words about that
What you mean,
son of a
Marion
gun,
and I?
Engler. And so, caller, go ahead, save us from this
Well,
meltdown.
I'm with you, ladies, and I am Martin. And good evening to you. And I wanted to know, did you hear anything about the Section 8 waiting list opening up?
Yeah, Section 8 list is opening up for Detroit, and it's opening up in the year 2036. So all you have to do is hold on, and in 2036, that'll be the wait list. So you just hold on 27 more years, you'll be able to get on that list.
And we're not kidding neither, because they open
I'm
it
kidding,
up.
caller. I'm just joking.
But no, they open up that list sometime when they tell them to, and soon
Last
as
time
they
for
had
Detroit
opened-
was 05, man.
Yeah, soon as they open it up, the list that they already have is just as long as the list of the people that are coming in there. So, but you have to continually check and make sure that they know you, and that you're on that list. I said because we don't know
know.
They'll call us tomorrow and say the list is open.
And after 24, 48 hours, it might close. Now,
Uh-huh.
there's a Section 8 component down at the Detroit Housing Commission, but it's not at the office on Russell. It's at the office, and I've forgotten, what's that street on the other side of
Jefferson?
Gratiot? No, it's on the other side of Gratiot where,
McDougal?
no, it'll come back to me.
Tell them to call the office.
No. I have to remember the street that it's on. But it's a Section 8 office, and it's not the Russell Street office where Anthony Watson is. It's an actual Section 8 office and public housing office, and I've just forgotten. It'll come back to me before long. Caller, you're on the air. Thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights.
I'll soon be 69 in a month. Do you think I'll
Okay, caller, your voice is going in and out. Wait. Caller, your voice is going in and out. Say it again.
Tell them to go slow.
I said in the year 2036. In 2 months, I'll be 69 years. You think I'll be around in time to get today? I'm going to hang up the list.
You ain't had to hang up and listen. You better be around. You're going to have to live another 27 years.
We got some
So
work
you'll
for
be
you.
98 by the time the Section 8 housing list opened again. And it won't matter, because by then you be done lost your mind, your eyes won't work, and you won't be able to hear nothing. So it don't make no difference. Wherever we put you, you'll think it's okay.
And see, it's like Maureen, we heard earlier that the recruiting age, that they're going back and recruit soldiers again. And
Oh, yeah.
Well, go on.
The draft age for soldiers has been we don't have a draft right now, but they've raised the age and say you could be up to 36 years of age and can be drafted. So
watch out, some of you
we got a
seniors.
guy in here talking about he 40. Shoot, they're 43.
they're gonna
They
take
gonna
him.
take him too.
They're gonna-
Caller,
he can
you
at
on the
least
air.
carry water.
Caller, you on the air. Thank you for waiting, and thank you for calling Ask
You're
Welfare
talking about
Rights.
behind the Eastern Market area, right?
Say it again.
Where the Section 8 building is behind the Eastern Market over there.
Yeah.
Is it Day or?
Okay, if you're on Gratiot and the Eastern Market is behind you, you walk across Gratiot, turn left, and it's that corner, and you turn right. Now, what
Right.
street is
Across
that?
from
I've
the church,
forgotten.
St. Joseph's Church.
Yeah, I've forgotten what street that is.
Is it? Yes, it's Orleans. Or
Orleans,
Day,
that's it. Orleans, that's it.
Okay.
Thank
That's
you.
it. That's the because there's only 2 blocks up there. Thank you, caller. All right, caller, you on the air. Thank you for waiting and thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights. Now you got to turn your TV down.
That's what I was calling to tell you.
Orleans. Orleans. I couldn't
Thank you.
remember that.
Thank you.
What's the name of that church that's right there? Anybody know?
Catholic church or what?
It's a
and
Catholic
it
church.
used to be a wooden bridge right there too.
Yes.
By the
Yeah.
housing authority. The
my
wooden
mother-
bridge up there on J.
Yeah, listen, my family, we walked across that bridge to get to the Eastern Market for years.
Yep.
You know, and
They got
finally
it
that,
blocked off now. It's
Don't worry,
been
you're gonna
blocked
be
off for
walking to Eastern
years.
Market.
no, that
Nah.
bridge fell down. But what is that? It's not St. Timothy's.
They
What
say it's
Catholic
one of
church
the
is
oldest
that that's
Catholic-
right there?
It's one of the oldest
Yeah,
Catholic churches.
but that's right. That's Orleans. Thank you, caller.
Okay.
All righty. Caller, you on the air. Thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights.
Hi, Maureen and Miriam. This is Debbie Williams. How y'all doing?
Hey, Deb.
How you doing?
I'm good. Y'all look good.
Well, thank you.
You know, I'm having an event October the 13th and the 14th. at Eastern
October.
Michigan
October,
University,
did you say?
and
You
I
said
wish you guys
October?
would come.
Did you say October?
Yeah, October the 13th is going to be at the Student Union Building in the Grand Ballroom.
You
And
you
then
gonna
the Peace Auditorium is October the 14th. And
is there a
13th is
flyer?
the put-in dinner.
Is there a flyer, Deb? You got a flyer?
Yeah, I do have a flyer, and I got to up-to-date some information. And then if you, I'm going to have something at the Detroit Public Library in the auditorium, and Dr. Umar Johnson going to be there. Stephen Baskerville from Washington, D.C., Connie, attorney James Connie, and Dr. Karen L. Donald is going to be there at the library, the main library right there on Cass and Woodward.
Well,
That's
send
gonna be
the
December
flyer
the
down.
8th. And also, we're going to have the Detroit Children's Choir.
Send the flyer down to
On
welfare
all the
rights
information.
so that we can start announcing it on the air.
Okay, I hope you guys come to some of them.
Okay, well,
Okay,
send them
Deb.
so we can remember, because this is April. I don't remember
I
where I
know.
was this morning, and you talking about October.
I know. You guys are so beautiful. I love you.
And I love
We
you
love
back.
you too.
Send it down to
Okay,
welfare
bye-bye.
rights so we can put it on the calendar, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, caller, you're on the air. We're down to our last 10 minutes. Go.
I believe the name of that church is Old St. John.
Could be Old St. John's. It's a
building,
great building.
Yeah.
Great church.
Yeah, okay. All right, that might be it, because
Thank you.
every time I've gone there, that reminds me of that church that's right there on Woodward and across from the Fox, the one that puts the notice up, God bless the Tigers.
Oh, yeah.
I never see, what is that? It's not Presbyterian, I forgot. I never see services in there. So this other church, really?
They had it on
They
TV.
can't hear you.
Yeah, I was able to see it one time. They were letting out church. They just had services in there.
It was about
But
6 people.
They helped us in one of our demonstrations. People had to go over there. It was on Martin Luther King birthday. Had to go over there, and that's where they were feeding. They fed people good.
Well, I guess so, because it doesn't seem like they have that much of a congregation, so they must
I
save a
don't
whole lot
know.
of money.
I don't know.
You
I've
know?
never been able to see that.
I don't know. I can't hardly tell. Caller, you're on the air. Thank you for waiting.
The church is St. Joseph.
It's St. Joseph's,
St. Joseph.
and that's that great church?
That's that great church.
Okay.
And it's one of the
Is,
oldest.
is it a Catholic church?
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of the oldest Catholic church in the city of
ma'am.
Detroit.
Yes, it is.
All right. Thank you very much. I see you all know your religious buildings, okay? Thank you, caller. All right. Well, now, Mary, there's one other thing. Oh, yeah, I want to say something about this emergency manager mess y'all got going on here in Highland Park. You know, here come the staff want to talk. Come on around here.
Come on.
Come on around
Come on.
here. Come on around here. You want
You
to
gonna say
the
something?
staff want to talk. Go ahead.
Well, what I wanted to say was George Bush said that by the year 2038, Social Security will be eliminated. Now listen to this. The baby boomers were born between 1946 and 1960. I'm 43, so I was born between 65 and 77. I'm Generation X. Millennials were born between 1982 and 2000. So I don't know where he got his information from. I don't know how valid it is, but I hope it doesn't happen that way. That's all I want to say.
That's some good
All right.
information.
Good information. In other words, you better get your house in order.
If
know,
you have
if,
one.
You know, you get your house in order. I don't know what the mayor's salary is in Highland Park. I used to know what the mayor's salary is in Detroit, but I do know that there's a raging argument among the residents in Highland Park where there's a call for, is this a school emergency manager or for over the city?
No, he is the emergency manager over the school board.
Okay, school board.
Over the school.
Okay, and how many schools do you all have in Highland Park?
That's open now?
No, how many do you have open or empty? Let's add them all
No, I
up.
don't know how many.
So you got
empty.
about
We
12
only
that's
have
open
one
and
open.
empty.
And one open.
Well, wait a minute. You got 12 that's either open or closed,
Mm-hmm.
and you got one that is open.
Yeah.
And this man is being offered, what is it, 120,000?
I don't know how much.
Six figures
I do
the
not know
last time I
how
heard.
much, Marie.
So want to offer the emergency manager over the school system. And why would anybody in Highland Park think that's a good idea?
Look,
That makes no
anything that
sense.
I don't care how good a person might be. You took money from the state that hired you, and they named you an emergency manager. Every emergency manager out here, whether you black, white, green, or yellow, man or woman, you have told us then in performing as an emergency manager that you are for the corporations at our expense. So why would we give you any more money?
Why? And Highland Park is not a rich community. Highland Park is on economic hardship, ice, and one foot on the ice and the other foot on the banana peel. And because an emergency manager that has their credentials, and I've got this degree and that degree, and I got some kind of special hat on my head, I need
He
to
ought to
be
go
able to
higher.
be paid
He should go
6
higher.
figures. But why would anybody in Highland Park to agree to an emergency manager says that you agree that the people don't have the right to vote?
See, I know,
That's what
I
that
know
means.
the people, Maureen, and I know
Anti-democracy.
that their mind is in, they fight for Highland Park. But see, sometimes you have to retreat in order to advance. In other words, you don't have to take a person just because they're trying to push you constantly
direction
in
or
one
another.
direction. We got a lot of people out here that would have the background to be able to deal with Highland Park. I want a Highland Park school system too back, but I do not want to hire no emergency manager that have
Take away your right to vote.
soaked away our school system along with the rest of them that have been here.
Okay, Mary, say something quickly about the court case in terms of Highland Park, and you all have been involved in this court case. What was the settlement so far?
Well, we haven't settled it, but we have.
What's the offer?
The offer is that the same thing that we had brought forth, and that is, if you were paying on your water back in 2017 up to 2016 when we began to get new
You
meters.
said 17 up to 16. Do you mean 16 up to 17?
2012
Oh, 12.
up to 2016.
Oh, okay. All right.
That was the period of time that Wyndham was not
Billing.
billing us.
Okay, so.
Then
12.
therefore, you will get a credit forward.
Okay.
Now, if you did not have the opportunity to pay,
You didn't get a bill and you refused. So
and
then
you
what?
refuse, you will be in the category of the folks that will be starting a new account.
So
In
you
other
start getting
words,
billed from this point forward.
when you received your meter,
Oh, okay.
the meter is
Okay.
is the thing, and that's a good move, Maureen.
Okay. All right.
That's where we are right now. We're supposed to go back to court again, in sometime this month to be able to, talk with the judge concerning this and see what happened, because that's a win-win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
another thing is, then we can clear the way to be talking about the water affordability plan.
Yeah, and we need to get that. And we only have a couple minutes left. Let me say something else about
one
go ahead.
last thing, because Lansing have taken everything they can out of Highland Park, and they took the pearl.
No,
Marie.
they can.
They took the pearl, the water.
Yeah, but they can come and get you.
Oh yeah, they can.
See, they can take more.
Help to rezone.
They can
this
take
area
more.
and push us out of our homes.
All right, now let me. One of the callers asked about these ongoing police shootings. It looked like it's every other day now, but I saw where a white guy had a machete. Did you see this one? Gay big old machete, this long, at least 2 feet long, and he's obviously high, something. And the police came, and this was in Los Angeles, and they shot maybe 8 or 9 times at this guy with rubber bullets. And I guess they hurt, because he was he moving around to try to avoid getting hit, but they were shooting him over and over again with rubber bullets. Then they pulled the taser, and they tased him after they'd rubber bulleted him at least 10 or 12 times. And he fell straight down. Oh, and then they charged him. And I thought, these are the police officers that need to be training all the police officers across the country. Here's somebody with a not a gun. Here's somebody with a knife, with a stick, with a rake, with a broom. You don't have to shoot them in the chest and kill them.
No,
you can use these rubber bullets that these guys did. And they was standing in different areas, and he was owing and on, and they put that taser on him. He hit the ground, and they charged him. No injuries. Nobody dead. The fella that got killed at Royal Oak the other day, this going to end up being a mess. The police officer shot and killed, the Royal Oak police officer shot and killed this guy as he was in the drive-through at the White Castle and shot him in the car. So the kind of violence that's practiced in America is the reason why the Poor People's Campaign is gathering steam.
Yes.
When we get here next week, we're going to be expressing some information and some details and some contact information on where you can get in contact with the Poor People's Campaign, because Marion is right. You can't keep sitting back and waiting and waiting and waiting for somebody else to fix the country, to fix the county, to fix the state, to fix the city. We have to do what we have to do.
Well,
and it doesn't have to be violence.
No, and I want to speak particularly to the seniors. You sit in some of these apartment buildings that we had to fight. We were a part of fighting for those buildings also. And they falling down around you, some of these places. Why the federal government is not building new seniors apartments?
Or low-income
Or
apartments.
having swimming pools in those places, Maureen.
Where you can exercise.
Recreation facilities for seniors. You are pride and joy.
Maybe not.
You need to start coming out and say, I want to be a member of the Poor People's Campaign. We will be calling a meeting probably in the next 3 weeks for senior citizens to come out and join the Poor People's Campaign. And it will be down at our church where our office is, because we need you out here. You shouldn't be sitting around dying in rat-infested buildings and people that don't care about you.
All right, our program is just about over for tonight. I see bumpers all over the service drives. You guys better slow down. Better stop that drinking and driving and using that marijuana, because it's legal. It's going to help you. All it's going to do is help you have another car accident, and we already can barely afford the insurance. All righty, Lord willing, the creek don't rise. We will be back here next Friday at 7 o'clock. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Mm-hmm.